All right, so let's take a look at transactional analysis. Thanks for coming back. So transactional analysis, let me get this to slideshow, current slide. Here we go. Let's go back to TA. Eric Berne. Eric Berne was the founder of transactional analysis. So according to Berne, people have the potential for making their own choices in life. People can rise above self-defeating scripts and habitual patterns. So one of the things that Berne saw us living in were these scripts. Script is exactly what it says. A script is a behavior pattern that we create. We write that in ourselves based on our own life experience. So how we live out life and what we do in life and the choices that we make in life, we predetermine, we write them, we make them, good or bad. That's the way it is. If we're not happy with the script that we create, then it's our job to rewrite the script, which we can do. Okay, we edit it. So Berne turns around and believes that we have the potential to make these choices, to make these changes, and we can do it. If we don't, then we have these loops in our scripts. These are called habits or habitual patterns. We repeat them over and over and over and over throughout our life, and we wonder why we're miserable. It could be a plethora of things. We can repress things. We can just be so used to things. This is the way things were always done, right? We're not happy with it, but that's the way it is. It can't change. Well, it can change, and that's up to you, right? So the patient becomes free from the old scripts and writes new scripts for living and makes a decision to practice the new thinking, feeling, and behaving. So how a person thinks, feels, and behaves can change, right? Change the thought, change the behavior. If you want to change the way you behave, change the way you think. Because if you keep thinking the way you are, you're going to be having these loop scripts over and over and over again. And you're not going to change. If you're going to be the same person, you're going to be miserable. This can lead to several different types of psychopathologies. So in transactional analysis, we want to see how we're interacting with one another. Similar to Freud, who had three ego states, the id-ego and the superego, right? The id was the impulsive part of us. The ego was that definitive part of us. This is the way it's going to be, and that's it, very black and white. And the superego is that part that kind of is in between the two, that brings the impulsivity and the strictness together for Freud. For transactional analysis, we have three ego states too, but they're called parent, adult, and child. Each and every one of us has an idea in our mind of what a parent is, what an adult is, and what a child is, right? So that's us. That's who we are. We are parents, adults, and children. Sometimes we become very demanding, like a parent becomes demanding, and other times we can interact and talk with each other, just like adult to adult, where we resolve conflicts and problems, and I'm not being a dictator or telling you exactly what to do. And sometimes we just banter and play, and we're stupid, and we say stupid things and do stupid things, right? Sometimes this comes out in a very unconscious way because of the scripts that we've created, and it gets ourselves in trouble. Prejudices, racisms, sexist comments. You know, we may think it's funny, but you say it to the wrong person, it's not too funny, right? Look at the news recently and all that stuff. So all the stuff that comes out, people are saying, well, I was just joking. That's an old script. That's a script that came out. So again, the parent, the adult, and the child. So how is this used in TA? Well, if I have a parent, adult, and child, so do you. So I want to interact with you. How do I do that? Well, if I sit there and I say, you know, Jim, you're late for school again. How can you be late? I've told you 1,000 times to be here on time. I'm deducting 10 professionalism points from you. What ego state am I working out of? Parent. Now, if all of a sudden I sit here and say, Jim, you're late again. This is the fourth time this week. What's going on? Are there any issues that we need to talk about? What's happening? Are you okay? How am I talking to him there? Adult, right? Or I can do it this way. Jim, come on, Jim. Look, you're late again. You're late again. You got to stop being late. If you're not late, I'm going to slap you around a little bit here. You know what I mean? All right? Come on. Knock it off. So now I'm talking like a child. Can even be seen as like a, adult playing with a child, but a child, right? How are you going to respond to me? Jim, you're late again. I'm deducting 20 points from your 25 points. This is the third time this week. Who do you think you are? Now your response, I'm sorry, Doc. I'm really sorry. I didn't mean to come late. Traffic was just terrible on the road. Again, I'll try to do better. How are you responding to me? You're responding to me child to adult. Same scenario, different ego state. I'm talking to you, Jim. Man, it's the third time this week. I don't want to take professionalism points off from you, but if you keep this behavior up, I'm going to have to do something. Come on. What's happening? What's up with you? Your response. Well, Doc, I understand. I should be more responsible. I keep leaving my cell phone at home. I need to call you. Like you said, I need to take responsibility for this stuff. There's no excuse except traffic is just a problem. I'm sorry to get here late. I'll try to do better. I will remind my cell phone and I'll call. Now you're talking to me like an adult. Okay? Third ego state. Jim, come on, boy. Come on, Jimmy boy. You shouldn't be late. What's the matter with you? I should slap you around a little bit, right? Right? Who's a bad boy? Who's a bad boy, Jimmy? Right? Jim turns around. Yeah, I know, Doc. I'm a bad boy. You like bad boys, don't you? That's me. Bad boy. Gotcha, yeah, I mean, that's what happens when you're in traffic, right? Or what's the interaction like besides two idiots talking to each other? It's child ego state. We would see that as two children talking. So this comes out of, according to transactional analysis, this comes out of how we interact with one another. You can also have cross transactions. My parent can talk to your adult can talk to my child can talk to your parent can talk to my parent can talk to your, and it goes around and around and around. Right? These are called cross transactions. So the relationship is between the patient and the counselor. It's equal. There's no fighting or arguing, it's an equal thing, and we choose what we want to work on. Okay, the technique in analyzing transactions is designed to help people become aware of how they interact with each other and come up with creative ways so they can freely move in and out of ego states. The application is great for individual, groups, and especially for family and groups in counseling relationships. All right. This is going to be split right here. I'm going to introduce behavior therapy and B.F. Skinner, and then you just go to the next video, because somehow it shut down, and right in the beginning of this one. So I'm just going to start this, and then I'll just close it down and open up the video that says week 2, video 3. Okay? So let's talk about behavior therapy. Boris Frederick Skinner. Human behaviors are determined by past and present events in the world. The key concept, behavior modification, the systematic application of rewards or reinforcements to alter or control behaviors. So for Skinner, behavior happened because of our conditioning. We are conditioned to behave a certain way. How we behave and how we respond to people was reinforced by people on the outside, usually our caretakers, or people that affirm us or punish us so that we do what they want us to do, okay? And then that becomes part of our life, and that becomes part of our behavior. We are trained to behave the way we behave, right? So as it says here, determined by past and present events in the world, our world, okay? So if I'm told as a white Sicilian macho male, right, you're not allowed to cry, you cry, I'll put a dress on you because you're worse than a damn girl at that point, and you're a man, and men don't cry, you hold it inside, you deal with the stuff you got to deal with, right? That's the way I was brought up. So you hold that in, and you keep that there, and eventually, the pain is intense. I mean, you're growing up, you're a child, you're 8, 9, 10, you get bullied and all this stuff, and you come home, and it's like, how many times did I tell you to defend yourself? You don't defend yourself, I'm going to give you the same thing that those guys gave, but worse. You see how I'm beating you up? I see how you hold your hands up? That's how you hold your hands up at those guys, and it goes on and on and on, right? So you deal with that type of stuff, and you hold it in, and I can't cry, I've got to be this stoic thing. Well, eventually it becomes pathology, right? You begin to believe that. I can't defend myself against somebody, I can defend myself. In order for me to be a man, I have to do this. If not, I don't know what I am. And now we've got intrapsychic, intrapersonal conflicts. And sometimes for some people, it can be intersexual conflicts, psychosexual conflicts. And this can lead to different types of behaviors. Back in the day, if you had that type of behavior, they would say that you got propensity towards homosexuality if you do that, whatever, okay? So you got a propensity towards that because you're a man and you're becoming emotional, and you can't become emotional. So there's a conflict between your masculine and your feminine side and all this stuff. This is what they believe, okay? So when that stuff starts to happen, you get conflicted inside, and your behaviors start to, you become unsure of yourself, and you're not sure what to do. So you do whatever works in society, and society reinforces that and says, good job, I'm glad that you can feel, or I'm glad that you hold your emotions in, whatever it may be, then that is your, to use the TA word, that is your script, okay? We can change that according to Skinner. Right? So we have this thought through reinforcements, and part of that reinforcement is positive or negative. And this may overlap in the next one. I'm just going to end it in this sentence, but I'm going to try to describe for you positive and negative reinforcements, and then we'll take it from the next video. So positive reinforcement are things that are added. Remember I told you before, don't think of this as good or bad. Positive doesn't mean good. Negative doesn't mean bad. Positive means something added to you to get the targeted behavior wanted. Negative means I take something away from you to obtain the targeted behavior, okay? So if I do something good, if I give you a nickel, every time you clap your hands, right, that's a positive reinforcement. I'm eventually going to, when you clap your hands without me telling you get a nickel, I'll just touch out and clap your hands. If I don't want you to clap your hands and you clap your hands, I'm not going to give you a nickel. I'm going to sit there and say, no, you don't get a nickel because I don't want you clapping your hands. You clap your hands again, I take another nickel away from you. That's called positive punishment, right? Because I'm taking it away from you. Or negative reinforcement, I'm taking it away from you. All right, let me continue this discussion on the next series, the next video. This will go on week 2, video 3. All right, thank you very much.